podcast. I am so glad you're here. I've started incorporating other people's stories into this show, and I've talked about in the past how our stories have the ability to create heaven or hell on earth for us and the people we interact with. That is, if we attach to the stories our egos create, and that is absolutely true. We absolutely view the world through the lens of the stories we are attached to, good or bad. However, our stories are equally as powerful in inspiring others going through similar situations and inspiring them with the knowledge that, hey, it is possible to overcome this suffering, this pain. It shows others that it is possible to become free from the bondage of the mind and truly change our worlds for the better. And when we change our inner world, we now acquire the power to change the outer world. So from the bottom of my heart, I am thankful you are here. Welcome to the Unifying Field. I would like to introduce today's guest. We have Carly Thorne. If you would just go ahead and talk a little bit about your background and maybe
Sure.
what you do.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, by the way. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
So my background, depending on if you want personal or business, which one do you want?
I mean, we can start with personal because I
Okay,
like
so it's
the
kind of all
before.
intertwined anyway. I was born with something called congenital rubella syndrome, which affects all your organs, all your bones, and all your skin. And I've had 67 surgeries since then, since
Wow.
basically since like the last 20 years, I've had it all crunched in. But anyways, the reason why I got into the field I got into was because of all that. I studied medicine, Western medicine, like thoroughly. I went and got a bunch of certifications on medications, dispensing meds, you name it. I went and studied it. And then I also went to the other side of the world, like Eastern ways. And I studied and I became a Reiki master in 2 lineages and interfaith ordained minister and just studied all the spiritual arts, Ayurveda, things, anything I could do to help my body. Because unfortunately, there's certain Western medications I'll have to be on the rest of my life. However, I choose to complement that with Eastern, So yeah, so that's kind of like a little snippet. That's what got me into my business. And then my business wise, we can dive into that a little later.
Okay. So that helps you put a lot of heart into what you do because it's something that actually affected you personally that you can translate to helping others deal with, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm definitely, as you can tell, I'm a big fan of blending different traditions, Eastern and Western. I think it's important, but obviously the world is not the most ready for that, but it's still fun anyways. Um, so what is it that you do today?
Yeah. So what I do is I consult and I life coach um, businesses and individuals that are at crossroads. They're either going through a divorce, someone died, their business is tanking, they're stuck. Somehow they're stuck and they need help unraveling it all. And that's why I always incorporate businesses, mind, body, spirit. Mind, body, spirit, business, because if your business is suffering, somewhere the other parts are suffering. If your home life is suffering, it's going to affect your business. They all intermingle. They all affect one another.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you don't attack the whole, there's no point.
Yeah. So I think I saw on your website you're talking about or maybe it was in one of your books. You have books on everything, like conscious business and then medicine related things. I can't
Yeah, I
remember.
do a lot of collaborative writing, which is really cool because you get to write a chapter in a book and it's with a bunch of people and it's about that particular subject. So I've written about Ayurveda with an Ayurvedic doctor. It was just me and her who did those. I've written about conscious business, like you said. And then I've written about conscious death and dying, social media, pretty much the gamut from social media and then into philosophy
I
and
got you.
the conscious arts.
Very cool.
What is your favorite conscious art?
Like What do you mean by conscious art?
So it could be meditation, it could
Oh,
be
okay.
chanting, it could be praying, it could be fasting, it could be whatever it is to you that, helps you on a spiritual path.
It really depends on the day.
Okay,
Like my
that's
my
fair.
regular my regular practice is just a basic, really simple, basic meditation practice. Minimum of 5 minutes a day, no matter what, no matter what. But then other times, and it just depends on how I feel inspired throughout the day. Other times I will do chanting or whatever, or like kirtan, Hindu kirtan, singing the Hanuman Chalisa or one of the countless, like Krishna Das. I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
you're probably,
love that stuff. I love Krishna Das.
yeah. So it really depends on the day. And I mean,
So I imagine maybe you do yoga.
I need to, but no, I don't.
No, you don't, but you listen to Krishna Das. That's interesting. And you meditate. Yeah, you should look into like dabbling with yoga. It doesn't have to be complex and all the crazy ass poses. Just look for the simple ones. They really do help you go into a meditative state, especially when you're in
But
downward dog or you're in a plank. You can really kind of zone in and go into that meditative space. And there's, like balancing poses, the same thing. You have to be really still to hold that pose, right? So
mm,
it's meditative in essence.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm incorporating the physical stuff into my daily practice and trying to be better with that because my life has been crazy busy here lately. And so I've been taking my dogs and my daughters out to this trail that's pretty close and walking for about 3 miles 3 times a week, roughly.
That's great.
So I'm starting to incorporate
Yeah, and
health
it's good
into
for
all
your
this.
daughter too, and it's good for daughter and daddy time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they both love it. It was funny because at first she's like, I don't want to go to the trail. I don't like the trail. And then we get there and she absolutely loves it and she wants to run the entire way. And yeah, she loves the trail.
Yeah, and they're outside in nature, helps their mood, it helps balance their
Yeah.
regulatory nervous system, you know. Yeah, that's a really great thing to be outdoors with her.
And mine too. And trying to help ground myself and get rid of a lot of nervous energy from talking to strangers a lot here lately. So it's kind of unraveling some more identity things that I guess I didn't think were still there, but they are definitely there. So
So you're at a crossroads.
yeah, but my crossroads is my life was. I mean, the normal 9 to 5 stuff is just boring, and my crossroads is it's time to figure out what my purpose is and go after it. And
Good for
anything
you.
that's standing in my way is just me, and I got to work through all that stuff.
Yeah, it's right here that stops us.
Hmm.
Our brain, our overthinking brain. Fear seeps in. They're like, oh, we can't do it. I'm not good enough. I'm not skilled enough. I'm not. And you just have to kind of rewire that conversation into I can and I will.
Yeah, and my way of doing that is just I hear I hear that voice, but I don't listen to it. I do it
Good for
anyways.
you. When I hear intrusive thoughts, I'll actually say, that's an intrusive thought. Thank you. Goodbye. Because otherwise it'll still kind of play around. But once I acknowledge it, it disappears.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So what was your beliefs before where you are at now? Were you conditioned in say
Yeah.
Christianity?
So I was raised Catholic. I went to private Catholic schools. Hence, that totally turned me away from Catholic anything because for me, if a religion is going to teach fear, that's not religion to me.
Yeah.
When you're trying to tell people if you don't behave, you're going to hell, and if you repent, you're going to heaven, that to me is a fear-based religion. I don't like any religion that's fear-based. So here's the interesting part. When I was a child, I'm talking about like fourth, fifth, sixth grade, around there. I changed our Father prayer to Our Father who is everywhere.
Not
Because to
just,
me, all the religions, all of them, I don't care which one you're looking at, whether it be Judaism, Catholicism, the Quran, or whatever, they all have a God. They all have a God. So if God is interconnected everywhere, and if God is within us and it's without us, out there, yeah, I think all religion is interconnected. But I stay away from all religions that are fear based. Or I this is the way I look at it. There's a pie. You can take what you need, what's beneficial to you, and leave the rest, right?
yeah,
So, like, there are some stuff that is nice about the Catholic religion, and I may take those pieces. However, you won't see me in a Catholic church sitting there for 2 hours listening to a sermon. That's just not me. Um, However, I will read, I'll meditate. I love japa chant, japa chanting when you walk and chant. I'll walk
yeah,
and chant. Like I said, my room is full of crystals, and I have the Ganesh and I have a Buddha. I have like all the religions kind of, tangled in here somewhere. Um, and to me, I think every single religion has some beauty in it, even in the ones that people bash. If you really look at the religion itself, there are some good things to the religion. It's just society.
yeah. Yeah, it's the egos ruin everything.
Yeah. So then I would say I'm not an atheist by any means. I believe in a God. I believe that, there's a higher power. Um, yeah. And so as I got older, I just leaned more to spirituality. And when I mean spirituality, grounded spirituality, not like, I just sit here and meditate, it'll fall in my lap type of thing. I mean, like I realized, there's actions we need to take to arrive at things. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My own. I'm not. Hmm. Yeah, these days I can't really pinpoint what I am. I'm not an atheist. I'm not. Maybe I'm like somewhere in between. I just kind of. This depends on the day
Well, you're
because
still young. You're still finding yourself. You're still exploring. You're still studying. You're still like looking into things and inquiring. You're asking all these questions, right?
yeah, and I've experienced the once my heart opened up and how am I trying to say this? I've experienced the kingdom of God within, as Jesus talked about. And so I can practice these different religions and different practices and do the bhakti form of devotion and all that stuff, but like I know that I'm not separate from that. So technically, I don't know. I feel like I could relate to anybody, an atheist or somebody who's devotional in nature or anywhere in between these days.
Well, you're
Yeah.
kind of like an open book, kind of like me. You kind of open your mind and you kind of see what's out there, and you're not closed off to it. You just open to the experiences,
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
is a great thing. And it's a great thing as you're young, it's great to live that way, to be open minded enough to want to explore. Don't stop, keep exploring.
Yeah, there's so much fun teachings out there and many different ways to view the same teachings. That's another thing. So if one religion or belief system doesn't explain something in a way that resonates with you, I guarantee you another belief system will have a way of explaining that in a way that does resonate. So yeah, it's fun to not be limited by one belief system.
It is. That's kind of, I think, one of the bonuses, not being limited to one, is being open to others because you learn from them all,
Hmm.
right? So I think, why not? Why not be open to things that teach me things that I never knew, or maybe something that I might want to explore, or, have you ever looked into Kabbalah?
A little bit more recent. I started getting into magic and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
which is ultimately what helped me get over my spiritual plateau because, you know, I was also conditioned in Christianity. And when I was little and at my babysitter's house, I remember her telling me that, or asked me if I got saved. And I said no. And she said, if you don't, you're going to die and go to hell and, you know, swim laps in the lake of fire for eternity. So I kind of hung on to that for most of my life. And you know, it doesn't encourage going to your darkness and figuring out what's wrong. It encourages you to just sweep everything under the rug, pray that it all
Goes away,
goes away, and it doesn't.
disappears. Yep.
And
Yeah, I think the real growth in life is the scary
it
places where
is,
there's change, where you have to go under the covers and actually look, right? Those are the scary things to do, but those are also the best growth spurts you're going to get is when you're in those dark places because you learn a lot. That's if you're willing to do it. And a lot of people go into the dark place and stay in fear mode and don't learn anything because they're just more fixated on the fear than they are in trying to figure out how to get out of it.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, when I my going to the darkness was my rebellion against Christianity because I was having a lot of marriage problems, and my wife is a fundamentalist Christian, you know, very stuck in her beliefs, which is perfectly fine. And I just wanted to rebel against that because I was tired of it. And I went to the dark, or I started exploring various belief systems within that, including Satanism and all that stuff. And I was actually kind of fascinated because I was watching different documentaries and stuff, and there was, and even listening to a lot of atheists on YouTube, you know, and it seemed like it's a lot of religious trauma. It seemed like because a lot of the atheists that I watched were just trying to deconstruct Christianity, and like they were just fixated on that. Like they didn't do anything else but find ways to dis- disprove, you know, Christianity. And so it's kind of all interconnected, you know.
It is. It
Christianity
is all interconnected.
kind of created Satanism and atheism, and yeah, it's just
Well,
all the
they bank on, faith is a foundation of hope. Hope and faith help people get through things. And a lot of the higher ups don't want that. They want to see people not in that space. Hence all the preservatives in foods, the fluoride in water and toothpaste, et cetera, et cetera. All the things that are done to our bodies. I mean, I just learned something today that blew my mind. I eat super, super clean, organic, sprouted, you name it, right? And I always buy organic chicken, like call it where the hens are free, where they can just run and roam.
free range.
I just found out today that the people that the U.S. whatever I forget the what's the acronym for the Food Administration? FDA, not the FDA. That's for
USDA.
drugs. It's for food. But anyways, the food acronym, they actually allow you. They take an organic chicken that's been, and they dip it in chlorine to kill all the bacteria, and then shrink wrap it, and it goes to, and they say you can always tell because when it's been dipped in chlorine, even if it says organic, there'll be like water inside, like the package.
Hmm.
And I'm like, now I read every single label. Now I actually got to read an organic label that has chicken in it, and it just says chicken, but I actually have to look to see if it says air chilled. If it's air chilled, it's not dipped in chlorine.
Interesting.
I'm like, I was so shocked because I have so many autoimmune diseases from the rubella stuff, and so I can't afford to eat crappy. It makes my body flare, and I get inflammatory markers go all the way through the roof. So I have to eat clean. So I read every label. I read everything. Yeah, it's crazy. Um, I don't know. I think like in some ways America is so backwards And like Europe, they banned all this stuff. They banned the additives. They banned dye red. They banned gel nails. And here we are in the United States pumping all these additives into our foods. I just was doing, I do a lot of research. And I just saw an article on Chick-fil-A. They
Yeah.
changed they used to be, farm, the hens were roaming loose, whatever, and they're organic. They actually changed it to be may not be organic.
Huh.
Like, or chickens are fed antibiotics that are not human, like it's not taking away from humans. I mean, the wording I read, and the wording is like crazy. And then I read something, I had another one I read on McDonald's and Subway. And I used to eat a Subway because I figured, okay, that's a clean alternative. But they're, yeah, it's just crazy the amount of stuff that's in our foods. It's like, yeah, drives me crazy because, you do need to eat at the same time. It's kind of like, eating shouldn't be this confusing and complex. It should be easy.
Yeah, and the way they've designed it here is it's almost impossible to get away from some kind of additive. Yeah, that reminds me of my youngest daughter had to get some formula. Otherwise, she's mostly breastfed, but had to get some formula, and we got the best that we could get here, which is like goat milk, something or other. But even that, that's not clean, and the only way you can get the clean form of that is to order it from like Germany or something, which I heard somebody on.
Exactly. And people are doing that. People are actually ordering formulas from other countries because of that.
And it's the same company or whatever. It's just they don't give us the ability to have that clean formula here.
Yeah, exactly. McDonald's in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
like fries are three ingredients: potatoes and oil, and I forget what else they actually said the ingredients. Oh, and salt. And here in America, the fries have like 10 ingredients. Like, why? Like it's like I don't know if it's 10, but it's definitely more than three. Anyways, it's just mind blowing.
Yeah. So, did you have anything?
I think we covered a lot of stuff. We covered different aspects of religion and different aspects of growth.
Is there anything specific you wanted to speak on today?
No, just basically, uh, if anyone wants to reach me, they can reach me at Carly A Thorne at gmail.com, CarlyAthorne at gmail.com. Or you can just Google my name. You'll find me everywhere. I'm on every platform, literally. I also have Amazon. I'm on Amazon as well. So yeah, feel free to reach out. And if you're looking for a life coach and you have some questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you
Awesome.
so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. It's great. Love to have you on again.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the Unifying Field. If this type of content resonated with you, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you would like to share your story as a guest or discuss a spiritual topic you are passionate about, please message me on one of the many platforms I am on at the Unifying Field. And I will end this by saying Namaste, which means the divine in me honors the divine in you. Bye, everybody.